Welcome back to the Theologetics YouTube channel. We are in the middle of answering the question, what is the gospel? We've talked about how things came to be through creation by God's own holy, beautifully just hand. And then we just started a conversation, or dove into the piece of the conversation about the fall, what that means for the world that God created. And now we zoom in just a little bit further on the players and the individuals who were a part of the fall, ultimately tracing its way down to us. Now, when we talk about humans, we were made in the image of God, created to reflect his character and walk in relationship with him. But something shattered that design, and that something is sin. If the gospel starts with God's holiness, the next truth we must face is humanity's sinfulness. We read in Romans 3:23 that all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. That's not just a statement about humanity, that's a mirror held up to each one of us. The hardest truth to accept when it comes to talking about sin is that we are not good people who occasionally make mistakes. We are broken, fallen people who have rejected God, exchanged his glory for lesser things, and gone our own way. Not because we consciously made decisions, but that's how we were wired because of the fall. Sin is not just behavior, it's all-out rebellion. It is rooted in pride and self-worship. The Bible's very clear. Romans 6:23 says that the wages of sin is death. Not just physical death, but spiritual separation from God. What we can glean from the Genesis account of the fall and of creation, that maybe death wasn't the determined end for humanity. We don't know that for sure, but we can guess and come to a conclusion like that. Not only do we have physical death as a result of the fall, we now have a relational separation that is irreparable by our own efforts. Simply put, we were made for life, but our sin has earned death. This is the bad news that makes the good news so good. Until we see our sin for what it is, personal, offensive, and deadly, the cross just won't feel necessary. It'll feel excessive and extra. The gospel doesn't flatter us, it exposes us. It doesn't just expose us so that we can be ridiculed or laughed at or made fun of, it exposes us so that it can heal us. You cannot heal what you cannot see. We often cope with this guilt associated with our sin in all the wrong ways. Self-justify. We say, oh, well, I have a good reason for that. We numb, whether that be through some sort of alteration of ourselves through pills or alcohol or food, or just ignoring it. We also blame others. Well, they did that, not me. The gospel says and calls us out. It says, stop hiding. Own your brokenness, because you cannot fix yourself, but you can be forgiven. So here is how we can apply this. Yes, once again, hard to digest this concept of us being bad, us being broken. But in light of the first two things that we talked about, here is how we can apply this. We can confess our sin, name it, bring it to the light. We can humble ourselves before God. We need to remind ourselves that we're not the solution to the problem. Only he is. And then one that I need just as much as you need, stop performing and start receiving. Salvation isn't earned, it's given. Ultimately, we were made for glory, but we fell into ruin. And unless we understand the depth of our need, we will never treasure the depths of God's grace. And that idea of grace is the concept that we're going to address over the next few videos as we talk about the solution to this problem. So I hope that you come back and join us in that conversation. Join us to find the answer to the question of what is the gospel. You can subscribe to the channel by clicking that button below and liking this video to tell YouTube, hey, keep showing me stuff like this. As well as if you're interested in something that is a little bit more academic, more theologically thorough, because like I mentioned, these videos are tight. We're trying to keep them short so that they can be easily digestible and keep to the basics, so that you can build upon it. If you want something a little bit deeper, go to the Substack link that you see in the description below to poke around and see what's going on over there. And if you like it enough, I would love for you to subscribe. But please join us for the next video as we talk about the solution.